Hey folks, Monk52 here, and today we're featuring a game in Lexington. Now, first off, yes, Celestial is in a tier 6 Gneisenau, and yes, he was aware of it this time, and yes, never, ever, ever do this. See what I'm doing here? Field divisioning? Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay? Celestial is a very skilled player, and he wanted to see how well the Gneisenau would do up tiered, because we were having a discussion about Gneisenau, and this is what he wanted. This was on his intent. But never ever do this, because what you can do is you can get legendary ships fighting tier 6s fighting legendary ships. You see, like this. It's a bad idea. It doesn't work. It's not a good idea. Never do it, because you're disencouraging your teammate. Okay. Because what you're doing is you're bringing him into potentially a legendary game. If it's tier 6 or 7, what it allows is the 2 tiers difference. So if you fail division with a tier 5 ship, he can get put against tier 7s. So don't do it. I'm only doing it here because of Celestial's numptiness, okay? But I do apologise in advance, and I want to highlight that off the bat. Don't do this. Don't do it, okay? I generally don't like to feature games like this simply because I've done this field divisioning. So I've only done it a couple of times, and it's been as a joke on streams. But don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, just don't do it. Anyway, all right. I spent like a minute 30 discussing not to field division. We're gonna actually get into the game here. Fortunately, a lot of for me, I mean, at least I'm fighting a lot of tier 7, so I don't feel as bad. But I'm playing Lexington. I recently got Lexington, and this thing is absolutely disgusting. The Shikaku is very powerful, but Lexington's a whole nother level. Features much slower planes, but the benefit to these planes is they're very tanky, and these bombs and torpedoes hit like a truck with bombs. Each plane drops 2 bombs, and they have an alpha strike of 6k. That was a little bit bad aim there. I still got it, but I kind of veered off at the very end. That was kind of annoying. Theoretically, you can do some crazy damage. You can get 20 plus k if you land all the bombs, and that's all 6 bombs, because you're not going to Citadel with HE, at least at the minute. So you get about like 6k, you know, roughly. You get like 32%, I believe, is a penetration for HE. Assuming you hit the right parts of the ship, you can do some sizable damage. What I really want to know in the future update is what happens to our bombs. Is it a shatter on the bomb? Is it a pen on the bomb? I don't think it's me over pen, but you know, if we get AP bombs coming up over heads would be nice. You know, I'd like to know, rather than just number of hits, what our bombs actually did, because this would give us a lot of information as to where to hit the ship. Because yeah, that would be interesting. Celestial does in fact fight this Gneisenau here. He is fighting another same tier ship, which makes me feel better. And we did what we could to try and get the Gneisenau. We're just trying to drop him and help Celestial as much as possible. So we're just trying to drop him pretty down significantly. Pre-dropping, by the way, I did cover this in another video, but I didn't cover it in my masterclass, so I'm going to go over that real quick again. Pre-dropping, you definitely want to be doing it only in heavy AA bubbles. So when you're fighting something that has a lot of AA, and you're probably going to lose all your planes on the right there or the right back, you definitely want to pre-drop, because you guarantee to get your first drop off, and you're not going to lose. You're only going to lose 3 planes instead of 6 planes. And basically, if you pre-drop on the right times, you don't pre-drop on the other times, you will have a very healthy squadron, even at the end of the fight. So Celestial's been under a lot of fire, but he's done a lot of good. His aggressive push is what's led to a lot of the enemy team dying, including one of their destroyers, I believe. Could be wrong enough to that. Anyway, we're going to pop some fighters over there. Fighters are still a bit finicky. They take about 5 to 10 seconds to arrive at a target, and they arrive just when you place it. As soon as you press the button, that's where the fighters arrive. And if they catch enemy planes, they will follow them to the ends of the earth. You know? So yeah, that's pretty much what happens when it comes to fighters. But if you pop them in the wrong location, and the enemy planes do not intercept where they're going, their patrol zone, then they're kind of just useless. Really are useless. In terms of the situation here, there's a single Fiji. Fiji, unfortunately, doesn't have as best as good as I think it should. Pretty sure that the British light cruisers were A ships, but regardless, we don't need to pre-drop, and it's definitely worth trying again. Unsuccessful this time to get the second drop off, but I think it was still worth it. We didn't really lose that many planes. We did what we could, and we're definitely going to start pushing up soon. So, terms of ships, kind of even. We have the B cap. DD is kind of unspotted. We don't know where the DD is. Actually, I say that, and I'm looking at the map. It's very hard to see when you're recording these, the mini-map. Obviously, I'm doing this recording and I can't actually see that all the time, so I think he's to the right, but I could be wrong. But anyway, regardless, let's see. We've not pre-dropped here because it's only a Lenin, it's a singular Lenin, and maybe a destroyer. Yeah, that's the destroyers there. So we're going to try and drop the DD. So obviously, by the time we can see him, sometimes the pre-drop is too early, too late. If we see him, we're just going to drop what we can because we can't actually aim that in time. Terms of aiming though, not bad for a first hit, and we're going to try and drop the Dashi a little bit, and next drop will probably be on Lenin. Try to get some close hits here, make sure you give him plenty lead. Now this seems like it may not arm in time, but he is accelerating, so yep. No, okay, he just dodged them, not unfortunate. Lexington torpedoes are rather slow, very slow in comparison to Shikaku torpedoes, but the planes are much more durable despite being slower, and also being slower as a result. And the bombs do extreme amounts of damage. They're incredibly effective, these bombs. Definitely worth specking to bombs. Also concealment. For some odd reason, Lexington is super duper concealment, really concealed. You don't even need to run concealment at all for the Lexington. It's kind of dumb how concealed that boat is. Anyway, we're going to drop some bombs on Yudashi. Didn't make a difference, but they look pretty good. So we're going to turn it around again and probably just go after Lenin. Not done too much damage here so far, but it's all about hitting the right targets and giving them the right amount of grief. Because we tried to drop that Gneisenau. He was trying to kill our buddy Salisto, and we spotted the Yudashi so our people could kill him, and we gave the Lenin a little bit of a hassle, and we gave the Fiji a little bit of hassle. Not only did that Fiji get spotted by our actions, he lost a lot of damage, he had to maybe burn a damage control. It's not necessarily about the damage you do in these in carriers, it's all about the spotting and hitting the right targets at the right time. If you're trying to hit a Fiji who's trying to get into a good position, you're spawning him, you're causing him hassle, you never know, you might break his torpedo tubes permanently. That's the chance of that. You might cause flooding on this Lenin, for example, and then someone else catches a fire, or gets him another flood, and that's a perma flood for Lenin, and he's not going to enjoy that. Stuff like that, you know. Speak of the devil, we get a flood as well, and it's only one Lenin, so we could certainly do don't pre-drop there, because there's not really much of an AA bubble. Lenin's got pretty good close range AA in terms of that, but in terms of long range I don't think it's got much. Speaking of which, I just said that and we can almost get nothing really happened to our planes at close range. So we finish off Lenin, and we're going to push in and attack the Shikaku and the Fiji. Now, Fiji is in sea, so we're just going to hightail it all over there. We head into the sea cap, and we're going to help out our cruiser buddy. You definitely want to be close in a carrier game in terms of the action, but obviously you don't want to get spotted because you could get pretty darn eliminated really quickly, so you gotta be careful, but you want to be as close as possible so you can cycle your planes more effectively. So you definitely want to do this. It's something you want to try out. So also the white indicator, if you really want to get an accurate salvo, you would aim a little bit past that white indicator, because you can see that's the fully aimed drop, as accurate as I could be unless he turned perfectly. And you can see the difference there. You can see you can get some good hits. We do get blapped pretty darn hardcore, I think, by the Fiji. Oh no, sorry, that was Shikaku bombs. Shikaku bombs dropped us pretty hardcore, and that was unfortunate. But yeah, that's fine. You gotta keep pushing. We still got health to go. In terms of a carrier v carrier, Lexington is definitely tankier than the Shikaku is, but as long as we avoid fire from the Shikaku, from the Fiji, sorry, the Shikaku, we should be alright. Plus, the combined RA is much more brutal than Shikaku AA. We're going to drop some fighters for ourselves here, because he has to get past that path. It has to fly through that fighter zone, or to actually drop us. That combined with the carrier AA, I'm hesitant to even think he's going to get a single drop off. As you can see, fighters absolutely shred him. Well, actually, no, it's our AA shreds him, and then the fighters get the last plane. And there we go. AA just shreds him. He can get his first drop off. Maybe it was a pre-drop. Possibly, but I think 6 planes is the full thing. So we actually took down his whole squadron without him getting a single drop off. That's the advantage of fighters, folks. If you use them correctly, you can get some mean salvos. I know we only shot down 1, but the fighters weren't necessarily the ones that did the kill, but they may have essentially done the damage. That was a very lucky salvo from that bomb drop there. I'm pretty darn sure the fighters we had was the ones that did the damage, and then our AA just got the finishing kill. As you can see here, we've also got fighters coming over. I think this is purely AA though. Though it could be, I think it's a mix of both, because we don't actually see any damage from our planes or AA. We just see the number of kills. Again, in terms of information regarding this, we just don't have too much. So we're under some darn heavy fire here. We really should just run away at this point, but we're going to do what we can to finish off the Fiji, and after the Fiji we can do what we can about the carrier. We're trying to run away and trying to run to our closest friend here. This is getting pretty risky. So we've got to do something about it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to fly all the way over to our carrier, and we're going to definitely drop some fighters when the situation calls for it, because we can get pretty darn hurt. We're already at 16k. Fiji got a lot of nasty shots in us, and the carrier did get quite some significant damage as well. So we got to be careful. He's dropped some fighters because he's dead, or he's either dropped yeah, he's definitely dropped some fighters to try and avoid us attacking him. So what we do, we don't sail into the fighter's range. We just get as close as we can, and then we pop our fighters there. That way, if he wants to drop us, he has fighters harassing him for that as well, which means he's going to lose that entire squadron. He does get some damage in his first drop. I don't think he gets another drop in though, which is nice. And we are going to end the carrier AA. Not doing too pretty in terms of health, but that's okay. We're going to drop some torpedoes on Shikaku. Not a well aimed drop, but I really need to get rid of the salvo because I want to drop my bombs, because we have a full squadron of bombs ready to be used. We really need to get this squadron out, because there's a chance we might die. Drop some fighters straight away. Again, these fighters are very valuable, and you can see the effect. Maybe not on the ribbon screen, but you can see the number of planes being shot down, and that's really quite essential. We get a really well aimed drop, and fortunately for us, RNG gives us 834 more health than we actually need. We get a full bomb drop off, and that's 20k damage, so pretty darn extreme. We're going to swap over here. We're going to swap to our torpedo bombers. That's what we have the most of, and we're just going to try our best to get as much damage as possible. 20k damage is nothing to laugh at. You can see we are very low, but you can see the difference between the health pools. Not that significant anymore. Alright, so we do go down by the Shikaku. He does finish us off, and that's unfortunate, but it's not over yet, because carriers can't die until the planes are all finished. So we're going to do that. We're going to drop the Shikaku. We get 3 hits on the guy, and we're out here. But fortunately for us, that is actually a permaflood. So we picked up a high caliber reward, 112k in building. Udashi has run to the edge of the map, which is 100% the right play for once. Don't get yourself spotted. We've got a 500 point lead. There's no need to win any harder. Unfortunately for the Shikaku, his damage control was on cooldown when I flooded him, and that's a flesh wound. So, Lexington, thoughts? Incredibly strong. In terms of masterclasses, I'm not doing this as masterclasses, more of just a game feature. but I will do a different masterclass when I get a different result. Because this was an exceptional game, but unfortunately, because of Callisto, I can't feature this for masterclass in my good reasoning. 3000 base XP, 119k damage, pretty darn good game. Unfortunate Callisto was in a tier 6. Do not fail division, folks. Do not do it. Don't, no, no, no.